Uh, Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more episode of Talking Times. Yes, I'm the same guy, okay? This whole thing here is just a joke, okay? But we have a very nice episode today. We have a special guest who lived 4 years in Canada and some time in the United States as well. You're about to meet Fábio von Zuben, but right after our podcast intro. Hello, Fábio.
Hello,
How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
Man, I'm gonna do my best. So we will not chat about games. I'll try to control myself.
I think
And we
we
focus on the whole English experience that also
yeah,
involves some games,
some
right?
games, yes.
Man, before we start, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
So my name is Fábio von Zuben. I'm a dentist by profession. I originally from here, from Campinas,
Hmm.
and yeah, we met through my wife, right?
Yeah. Shout out to you, Gilmar.
Yeah, Gilmara. Hello, paixão. And yeah, and here we are.
Man, you are a dentist. You have a very nice English. How did you learn, by the way? How was the whole thing?
Okay, here we go. The
Yeah.
story goes like this. So, basically, we were talking about it before. So I had pretty good education, like basic education. I went to like what I consider to be a nice school. So I
Mhm.
had some base, and I'm already 42. So we're talking about the 90s, right? So
Okay.
we're talking about no internet and
Oh, you're a millennial too.
not kind of like I don't know.
Is
Like
the
I'm
oh,
from
it's the Y. I
81.
guess it's
I'm
the
from 81. So
oh,
so I'm from I think I'm from like in between like
yeah,
borderline millennial, like
yeah.
Generation X or
I
something.
saw that according to the separation they do that. I think I'm from 85. So after 84 is the Y.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or millennial or Y. So
Millennials
maybe we're at
after
the end
that.
of the X
Yeah, that
generation.
can yeah, they say like I'm borderline like in
Yeah.
between generations. So so I went to the school. I had the base
Hmm.
of English from like school, like everybody else that went to school with me. But I always got so I was always like I was a pretty nerdy kid. So I was like computers and stuff. So I had a computer. My dad gave me a computer when I was like 11, 12. So it was like the first computer everybody from like everybody that I knew, my friends, I was the first one to get like a PC, like a desktop.
Is the one that got yellow after some time, like
Yeah.
the tube
No, it was like a
monitor.
color screen. Like
Yeah.
it's weird because I feel like my like talking about this right now,
Hmm.
I feel like when my dad was back in the days, like I was the first kid in my street to get like a color TV. Everybody had like a black and white TV. So I was the first kid to get a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like and I was always into games like we were talking before.
Uh-huh.
And there was a bunch of games that and back then it was all in English, right? So you have to understand what's going on to be able to play. We're
Hmm.
not talking about like Mario and anything like it was just jumping. It was like adventure games and stuff like you
Oh,
had like
you
a
mentioned the
plot,
Pirates one. What was?
like Monkey Island, like
Mhm.
all the LucasArts back in the day games and stuff. So I really liked those games, and I wanted to learn the language so I could play, right?
Hmm.
So I had this like dictionary next to my computer, and whenever I saw a word that I can recognize, I went to the dictionary. So I got some vocabulary there,
Hmm.
but not the fluency.
Okay, this is something very interesting that you are describing because it's the method called the PBL, like uh, project or problem-based learning. You
Yeah,
give the students a
yeah,
task, and the English is a tool. So you were learning in order to be able to understand the
yeah,
game.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like in order to do something,
Hmm.
like anything, you have to have like a strong reason why you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
You have to work, you have to like to learn the language. I had that reason. I wanted to play the game. So like it's call it stupid, but I was a kid, so that's not stupid for kid. And you also need to have like nowadays I understand like the benefit that brought me the learning the language and stuff like in a broader sense, but that I didn't understand back then.
Yeah, it was just for
But
fun in a
yeah, it
way.
was just for fun. And when I got there, and then I started like doing that with the dictionary and stuff, no internet or anything. And my, but going back a little bit, like all my family from my mother's side, back in the 70s, everybody went to the US for like exchange student program. Not everybody, like my mom didn't, like think there was like another aunt that didn't. So I always wanted, and I had a cousin that went to Japan for like exchange student. So I wanted to go do the exchange student program. I wanted to go 6 months to the US specifically just to learn the language, get away a little bit, to live that experience and stuff. Because like we grew up in the 80s, like it's just always like the American culture in your head,
Yeah.
like all the time and stuff.
The
And
TV
you wanted,
shows were all like
yeah, you
inspired.
wanted to live that. If you have the opportunity, like, and thank God and thank to my parents, I had the opportunity to do it. And also to the Plano Real, because the dollar was 1 to 1, so it's kind of
Okay,
cheaper,
yeah,
right?
98. Yeah, yeah.
Obrigado, Fernando Henrique. And then we were, so we, that was the plan. So my parents sent me to the US for exchange student program, right? So we went there to the place that they had, and here in Campinas where we arranged everything. So they sent me, that was 98.
Was it scary, man? Like, how
Yeah,
anxious
for
were
a
you? Or you
16
were
years
like,
old.
la, 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 la.
Yeah, for a 16-year-old, yeah. But I had a base, like I
Mhm.
had a I had the most important thing you can have when you do something like this is a credit card. So if anything goes wrong, you can use a credit card, which wasn't very common back then. So it was like, this is the credit card.
Mhm.
If you need anything, you get a credit card, and
You
you
buy the
know, yeah,
airplane
you
ticket
buy,
and you go
yeah.
back.
If you have a credit card, you could do like you could get away from some stuff, right? But I mean, you're nervous. You're meeting like you're living with someone else that you don't know in a
Exactly.
different country, like far away.
It's a
You're
huge
16, but
adaptation.
then again, it was always my personality. I went to Canada later on, but
Yeah.
so yeah, we went there, and then I started going to school, like playing sports, and uh, and then, but naturally, the English, like the fluency came.
Mm-hmm.
But as we were like discussing early on, like it's important to be able to detach yourself from your native language, which is basically impossible to do today because of internet.
Yeah.
And I was like able to do it because of no internet. I had email. Like we had internet, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
email. There's no like messaging. There's no social
Yeah, no,
media.
so this is crazy when we think because it's kind of a paradox in a way. We develop some technology in order to make our lives easier.
Yeah,
But you remember a time where the very same technology was not available
yeah,
and other things happened naturally, more naturally. Like, okay, how did you learn English? Talking to people.
yeah. Talking to people.
You know?
Exactly. Like when I went to school, I remember a story like I started going to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went to, it was high school, was a senior. I was 16,
Okay.
17, and started going to classes. So I had to go to a bunch of classes. So the way it works there, it used to work, and I don't know how it was right now. So you had these classes, you had to pick some classes because the curriculum had to
Mm-hmm.
match the curriculum in Brazil. So we had to
Okay.
I had to have like physical education, history, uh, English, uh, uh, whatever. So some kind of art or something.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I think that was pretty much, and like biology, chemistry, and whatever.
Okay, the one called science
And
here.
math, right?
Yeah.
Mathematics.
You mentioned you were good at math there. You were doing the things
It
by
was
heart.
easy because like in Brazil, we used to learn, we I think we still do, right? We
Hmm.
learned to do the math on the paper,
Yeah.
and they use a calculator there. So they gave me a calculator. I was like, and I remember like, oh, okay, that's easy.
So
And
you
then they
really felt
advanced
like
me
different
the
there.
classes, and I got advanced to like algebra 2, remember? And over here, I sucked at math. I
There
felt
you were
so
like the
proud.
genius.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm getting A's and stuff,
Man,
right?
teacher, what is he
Wow,
doing? He
nice.
is doing calculus like the old Incas and
Yeah.
Mayas used to do with this thing here and that thing they're
But
made of.
I remember there was like some difference. Like they had a class called World History,
Okay.
which for us is history, right? So we learn world and Brazilian history in the history class.
Uh-huh.
So they had world history and American history. It was pretty. I wanted to do American history because most of the world history stuff that I had,
Mm-hmm.
I already had. Like
Okay.
those were I already learned, and it was kind of repetitive. So that one was one that I regret not switching. But I remember we were talking about speaking English. Like when I got there, it was pretty. I'm not an introverted person, but I was pretty introverted
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning because I was getting my bearings of like where am I and what's this people, you know. And I went to a class, a biology class, I still remember. And there was this kid in the back, and he was like with a deck of cards, and he
Mm-hmm.
was playing with the deck of cards. And he just like he called me and said, "Hey, you're Fabio," and all because like I was the foreign guy in the school, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the Brazilian, the South American. In the school, there's like no foreign people there.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's probably a bunch of them, but there's like back then there was like it was pretty homogenous, you
Okay.
know. And then he's like, "Do you gamble?" And I didn't understand it. Like I couldn't understand what gamble was. Like I know what it is right now,
Mm-hmm.
like today, but it was when I learned like when I said like I need to learn the language. I need to talk to people because it was a word that didn't have a direct translation to Portuguese.
Now, how did he explain it to you?
He was like, because he was holding a deck of cards. So
Uh-huh.
he was like, when you play cards, and I was like, yeah, play, bet, whatever. No, bet is a part of gambling. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Gambling is like, there's no word in Portuguese for gambling.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's like in the dictionary that I was reading, there was a translation from words from Portuguese to English.
Ah,
And I was
okay.
like, there's a whole bunch of like, oh, I need to learn, I need to start talking to people, right? So then I started talking to people. I was like, screw this. I know, like, just let's make friends, you know? Because I was afraid of people treating me badly. Like, I was a teenager, right? So just
Mm-hmm.
like, you have all your insecurities and stuff. Although I was a pretty handsome kid and I had no trouble with it.
Okay.
But no, I'm just kidding. Uh, but then I started talking to people. Like I made a couple friends, and I had like this neighbor that was like playing video games with me, and we started walking to school with like neighbors and stuff. And I was just talking to people, and then just fluency came. I remember like 2 months into the trip, I was already pretty fluent.
Man, that's amazing. And we tell this, I think I mentioned this to you. You, students, maybe you are one of those. Sometimes people come to me and they are afraid of having conversation classes because they think, Mike, I am not fluent, I don't speak the language. So when or how can I do a conversation class? And the answer is very simple. Right now, book one, do
Yeah.
it. You don't have to know anything. Just interact and focus in communication, you
Yeah,
know?
because you get better at like it's like drive like language is like driving a car, right? So when you learn to drive, that's the experience I got.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're learning to drive, you have to think about everything. You have to
Every
think about
micro action is yeah.
switching the gear, pressing the clutch, accelerate, turning. At some point, something flips in your brain
Mm-hmm.
and like muscle memory and everything, and everything starts to become natural, and you do it automatically. Like the language is the same thing. Like you just have to force yourself to that point where you don't have to make such an effort anymore, and then you go. Then you start doing stuff that it's enjoyable. Then in the beginning
Yeah,
it's a
is
hustle,
you have
and then it's a kind of it's enjoyable because then
yeah.
you're like watching stuff you like. You know, and you're doing stuff you like. You're watching that movie that you used to see doubled with those weird voices, and then
Yeah.
you can start watching the same movie you love with the original sound and the voices of the actors, and you can
Yeah,
actually
it's
pretty much
amazing.
you get the jokes, right? Because there's a bunch of jokes that that you only get in English,
Yeah,
right?
they don't make sense if you translate
Yeah,
to
yeah, because
Portuguese.
of
Yeah.
so the whole your world becomes bigger, right? So that's that's the why. Like later on, I found that out, right? So the best thing about learning a different language is that your world is bigger.
Man, it's
As
so
far as
true.
like, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like as far as like the content that you absorb, everything's unfiltered, right? So because everything that we absorb here in Brazil, be it like media or like whatever, like TV, magazines, and who like everything in media today, right?
Yeah.
Even in business, like if you want to improve yourself, like courses, stuff that you learn, everything, right? So if you don't have the funnel of you need someone to get the content in English, translate it, do the same thing in Portuguese, so you can read it and then you can learn. You're one step ahead of everybody.
Yeah, and some things can get lost in translation in this
Oh, yeah,
process
for
as well.
sure.
I told you like there was this moment when I was a student that when the switch flipped
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I was watching a movie at the cinema and I noticed that I wasn't reading the
yeah, yeah,
subtitles. I said,
yeah.
I'm getting fluent. Did you have a similar moment in
Oh, yeah.
US,
No, but there
man?
was because yeah, I would still read the subtitles a
Mm-hmm.
few years after I came back, but but then when you like do it a lot, like I never like I remember last movie I watched
Mm-hmm.
double like dublado was I remember like movies from the 80s. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
some of them I still watch though because
The
it brings me
T-shirt
back.
thing.
Like Ghostbusters, I like watch
Yeah,
them
yeah.
because I remember because the voices are funny and I like
Uh-huh.
it. Or like Locademia de Police and
Yeah.
stuff. Those movies you have to watch them in Portuguese, right?
It's a nostalgic
Yeah,
feeling
it's a
too.
nostalgia
Yeah.
thing, and they're also funnier, right?
Yeah.
But but I remember when I like I don't do it as much as I like, but I used to like to I read a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
books and stuff, right? So when I came back, I made sure that I every time I get the opportunity to read something in English, right? So when I get a book, I went to like Saraiva store back then.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's a version in English, I'll buy the version in English,
Oh yeah.
and I'll read it in English
Man, you
because
remind me
then
of something. I bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy
yeah,
really, really
so much
cheap.
better in
And because
English.
in Brazil the books were in English, so it was like a problem. And
Yeah,
for me, it was
yeah.
the solution.
Yeah,
So,
it's cheap. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Now it's more expensive, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably three times the price.
probably.
But the I remember like English class, uh, when I was like English class, right? So English class in Brazil is like learn to speak English,
Mm,
right? So and Portuguese class in Brazil was like learning
the grammar
the
structures.
grammar structures of but I was a senior, right? So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna learn grammar.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like that. It was literature
Ah,
because the language English is so simple that they will learn the grammar by like ninth grade.
damn. So you were
So
having what
in high
Shakespeare and
school,
stuff? Like,
yeah, I'll have like it was awesome man, because I got to read like Mark Twain,
mm-hmm.
Scarlet Letter, and they had Shakespeare, and they had those discussions about the book. I had like got
Ah,
to learn
man, it's like a
fan
book
of
club in a
Mice
way.
and Men. So I still remember those books. Like it was something that I did not have access when I was in Brazil
That's nice.
because if they have the translated versions of those books in Portuguese and those stories, and for some reason they don't teach them here like
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare and stuff. You have to. It's awesome. Like the story's good, the structure is good, everything's. So it was one thing that I remember that I learned is like there's a whole world of literature. That's when I got access to like the Lord of the Rings and stuff. Not
Mm-hmm.
after the movies, right? So the movies came right after. It's been
Yeah,
a
the
while
first
already, right?
2001, I
Yeah,
guess.
man, it's been so
They got
long.
20 years old. Just said, oh
Yeah,
my
so I
God.
got to read the books and stuff. So then your world is bigger, right? So you have to read the books for the vestibular. I read them all and all. Like I
Yeah,
like
that's
Essa
really
de Queiroz and Machado de Assis.
yeah.
It's all good. Some of them are great. Some of they suck.
Yeah.
As as foreign
Same there.
literature,
Yeah.
same there, right? But
Yeah.
you have to have access to everything, right? So you get to read all that. Then I came back, and then flew by. I got old. No, no.
Before we
So
go there, let me take a look at the chat. People are sending a lot. Did you invite the RPG party? You did, right?
I did.
Okay.
Guys from my Baldur's Gate party.
Nice, man. All
Yeah.
right. Hello, Tommy. Hi, Isaac. Hi, Jose. Hi, Isabella. Hello,
I don't know if they're
Mariana.
gonna go in because they just sent the thing, but it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, what did I do with my hair? It was the army, I was summoned.
I really like what you did with
No,
your
I was
hair.
draft.
I don't know.
No, I woke up one day
I
and
kind of prefer like that. I don't know.
I want to
Just-
change my hair. Yeah, I did that. Now I can see here it's not shining too much.
It's truly liberating to do that.
Yeah, it is, man.
You're gonna save money on shampoo.
Like
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Tommy is asking a question here about Canada. Before I read this, what was the thing with your name, United States, that people would make
Yeah,
jokes?
because they had a guy, the Fabio, right?
Yeah.
They had that guy with the blonde hair. He used to do ad for like butter.
Mhm.
No, it's a margarine,
Yeah.
and he would come. I can't believe it's not butter. It sucked. And then everybody would just come, Fabio, just say, I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it's not butter. Even in Canada, like 20 years later, those people like, Fabio, I can't believe it's not butter. And the guy had long blonde hair. I don't even look like him.
Man.
But the name.
Okay, Tommy asked here, how would you describe the weather and the climate of Canada, particularly in the area where you lived?
Very cold.
Okay,
For
that's
a
very interesting.
long time.
But in a bad way, or was like adaptable?
No, it's adaptable.
Okay.
Like I feel more cold sleeping here in the winter than I did there.
The houses are really equipped for that, right?
Because over here, I have to put a bunch of clothes to sleep in the winter. Over there, no. Because there's
the
like
heating
a
system.
heating system.
Nice. Isaac is asking, Fabio, your name is awesome. Von Zuben. So,
Yeah.
is somehow related to Holland?
No, it's Switzerland.
Sweet. Okay. Fernando here. Hello, G's. Lovely, welcome to. Okay, you guys are chatting amongst yourselves as well. So, okay. All right. That's a nice question from Marcel.
There you go.
How can people, get rid of the fear of going to the dentist? I think the fear is about that little tool that doesn't.
Go to the dentist.
All right.
Because I'll tell you why. Because all the bad experience you have in the dentist happen because you don't go regularly. Like if you go regularly to do like cleaning and stuff, whenever you get like a cavity, a problem or anything like that, it can be fixed with no pain. But if you wait, it's going to be painful, more expensive. So there's no reason not to go. Like go every 6 months, talk to your dentist. You guys want to go? Just send a message.
Yeah.
I'm available. I'll be there for you guys. If you guys want to do it in English, I'll do it as well.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
have no problem with it. And then just go to the dentist. It sounds weird, like cliche, but it's actually true. Like if you go regularly, you won't
Be like
need
a
to do,
checkup.
because the only thing that really hurts, like if you have to do a root
Like an
canal,
extraction.
like root canal, not even extractions don't hurt anymore. Like if you have a like infection and everything, but then again, it's like you take medications. There's just a way to mitigate that. But there's like the only thing that I can say, like it still hurts. It's like if you have to do a root canal, which I don't do. I have amazing people that do it for me. Just because I don't like to go like people feeling like with me, because it sucks for the dentist. Nobody I respect people like endodontists because they have to go through, because I had my tooth aching like a few weeks back. I had to go to do a root canal. Like I have teeth over there, and I go to the dentist every day. No, so
You are a dentist. To
so
go to the dentist. Yes, I
eventually
have
it
teeth.
will happen. Like everybody has like a need for something, right?
Yeah,
Doctors go to the doctor.
of course. You're human.
Yeah, we're human. So like, yeah, just go.
I thought he would say something like this. Oh, don't worry. The worst thing that happens when you are at the dentist is gonna happen when you are unconscious. So it's not a problem.
You know the three lies of the dentist?
Uh,
We would say this to us. The three lies of the dentist is
hmm.
it's gonna be over soon.
Hmm.
It's not gonna hurt,
Okay.
and it's cheap.
I'm sure people say that in other professions, but we're not gonna go there today. Anyways, okay, nice hint. Yeah, nice question, Martin. All right. All right. What are some of the major cultural differences or nuances you notice between Canada and Brazil, Fabio?
Okay, so let's go back a little bit
Yeah,
because
before
we have
that,
to. Yeah, we
okay,
have to go
you
to understand.
returned from US, and what made you go to Canada?
Yeah, so yeah, we should like we'll get those questions answered
Yeah.
because otherwise we'll get mixed up. So and I'll be mixed up. My brain's gonna be go crazy. So we went to I went to college. I got my degree. So
Played for the tennis team.
I played the tennis team in Canada in the US. So in the high school. So I came back, finished high school here, go to college, no US, start like normal life. A few years later,
Uh-huh.
in 2011,
Okay.
so I met my wife, she was like English teacher, and she just came back from the US. She was working as an au pair in New York, and we started dating and whatnot. And then I always had that thing in the back, so like maybe like we want to try living abroad. Brazil back then wasn't that nice. I was working a lot. I was kind of burned out uh of my work. Like I was working a lot, like a lot of surgery, a lot of like implants and stuff, traveling, working a bunch of places. So I was kind of burned
You
out.
were overwhelmed.
Yeah, I was like a little bit. It was kind of automatic. So
Okay.
I was kind of losing the joy of it. And we just made a decision to go. We had some money saved, and we made a plan 2 years in advance. And then like because it has to be planned.
That's a nice hint as well.
It's a big experience. Some people just buy the ticket and go, like I've seen them, right? So I met them like, my boyfriend dumped me. I need to go.
I need a change of environment.
Leave. And
Yeah.
they'll buy a ticket and they'll go.
Yeah.
No plan or anything, just a credit card and they'll whatever. No, there's like a whole process you have to go through, like even psychologically, right? So
you're gonna miss your family, friends, get
you have
homesick.
to get you have to slowly get into it. So we went there, we planned everything. We got G enrolled in this college undergrad thing, project management. So the way it works, like you have to be legally there, the way I did it. So you get she would get like this student visa. I would get like a work permit. We could stay there for a year, extended for another year.
Okay.
You have to pay for the thing, the college. And then she would get there and I will go to work.
Okay.
Not as a dentist because there's regulations. So there's a process I'll have to follow of tests and accreditation so I can work as a dentist there.
Is it very bureaucratic for a Brazilian
Not as much as the US.
Okay.
It's the same it doesn't matter where you come from.
Okay.
I mean, it does a little bit in order for them to check your diploma and stuff, but Brazil doesn't have an issue.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but Canadians, Canada, it seems to be more open-minded about that.
Yeah, it's just the process is pretty much the same. It's just that they have one option where you just do tests.
Okay.
And you can be a dentist in Canada only. Whether you can, there's another pathway you go where you do a test, then you go back to school for a couple of years, then you can be like a doctor in Canada, US, like Ireland, basically like Commonwealth. And then the plan was to first uh, become legal, like be stay legal there, and
Mm-hmm.
see if we can get like the residency, the permanent residency. Um, and by that time, then I would proceed to the thing with the dentist because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going to spend all that money and not get the permanent residency, so there was no point.
Okay.
So that was like 2 years in, like
Damn.
working, and so I started selling um, dental equipment.
Ah, so it was related to your area,
No,
right?
that's something I was so lucky because
It was luck.
I was always working with something that's attached to dentistry.
Man,
That's
that's
weird.
amazing because
I was
being a
very lucky to
professional
it.
in the
Yeah,
area gave you more credibility, I imagine.
mostly because I spoke English, right?
Mm,
Uh, so because I had English, so it opened my doors to at least stay attached to my original profession. So
nice.
even though I was like selling equipment, it was good. I mean, it's my personality. For me, there's like no, like I'm always a very positive person. So people know it's kind of irritating sometimes, but I'm always like that. So
The boat is singing, it's like,
yeah, I
okay,
know.
guys, he knows how to swim. Let's go, no
Yeah,
problem. Okay.
always glass half full kind of person. So so I started working as a like selling dental equipment. This guy gave me an opportunity. It was like this Chinese guy with another like dentist. So it's like visiting dental clinics, which for me is good. It's like okay, so I'm
It was a
making some
familiar
money,
environment.
and I'm
Environment.
just getting to know how the profession is here, like
Uh-huh.
visiting dental clinics, right? So like a sales rep, right?
Yeah.
So I was like just doing sales rep thing in the winter, pretty cold. On a by bus, no car, because it was we decided not to buy a car. It was like
Okay.
just using public transportation. And then, but I was just in the country, high energy, so I got it was, and then when I got there, I was like, I saw those clinics. I saw a chain of clinics. They were the same name, so I went in and start researching who the owner was, right? Because I was like, maybe I can get something there. So I research, and I found the guy on LinkedIn. I message him. He sent me shoot me a message back, like, I want to meet. I saw your resume. I want to meet and whatever. And it was like, he met me in a coffee shop at 1 a.m. Like, it was the weirdest
Nice.
thing.
Very open-minded
No, he
too.
was
Yeah.
like, meet me at 11, this coffee shop. I was like, what? And then it's like I was there from 11 to like 1 a.m. And then
Mm-hmm.
he arrives like all hyped up and was like
Uh-huh.
crazy guy. He was actually Palestinian guy.
Nice.
And then he hired me. I worked for him he wanted me to manage like this dental clinic downtown, just purchased from this like white lady. And she was like retiring, and he wanted to change the practice. It was a nice building in front of the dental school. And I was like, yeah, that's the life. Okay, let's go. He's like, do you know how insurance here it works? I said, yeah, I do. You know how to handle like all the software and that stuff? I said, yeah, I do. I
Did
do
you
know
do?
it now. I wanted the job.
So you
So I
sneaked
wanted,
your way
he
in.
offered me like a decent, not decent, but like just
You thought
normal
like, well, I
pay.
don't know, but I can
It's
learn.
better than I was earning. And then I was like,
Hmm.
okay, but then I could study up and learn. Like
Okay.
it's not rocket science, it's just
Uh-huh.
insurance stuff. It's kind of almost like rocket science. And then it's like learning the insurance. I'm pretty like computer savvy, so I was like, I can learn the computer and stuff. So in a few weeks, I was like, just I could just mastering it. It was pretty easy. And then I started working with this guy, and then I went to in between this, I wanted to make some extra money. So I started working as a bus, they call food runner there. But, cominho in a restaurant here. guy who brings the food to the table, not
Okay.
the waiter. It's like,
It's like a bus
yeah,
boy in a
yeah, yeah,
way.
busboy, yeah.
Okay.
In the US, busboy,
Yeah.
over there it's like a food runner.
Food runner, the name.
Yeah. One of
Okay.
those words that I'm not sure, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a difference like knapsack or backpack, but I could be wrong. Somebody
All
correct
right,
me.
this is something interesting. What is the practical difference between a waiter and a food runner? Like
Food
in
runner
terms of
doesn't get tips.
really, man,
He
that's
just gets the food and brings to the table. Like the waiter will get the order, and then the food runner will get it from the kitchen and just bring it to the table.
okay. The
So that's
same
what
as
it was. I
busboy
started
then.
food running, and
Yeah.
then I got a job as a waiter, server there,
Mm-hmm.
not a waiter,
Ah,
server in
okay.
Canada. And then I don't know if that's a Canadian US thing, but
Mm-hmm.
in Toronto it was like server. And then I went there and I got a job as a server at a yacht club.
A yacht club, like a
Yeah,
bunch of
because
rich people and stuff like that.
Toronto has a lake, right? So in the
Uh-huh.
and there's an island in front of it. There's an airport in the island, and then this island, there's a bunch of people that live in the island. It's like back in the day, they used to have immigrants there, and there's a bunch of houses. Pretty nice place.
Nice.
And they have these yacht clubs and marinas there. And so in the summer, people just like do regattas and stuff. So I got to work there as a server with this buddy of mine, Mike. If you're watching, I love you. And then he's the used to work with me there, and I learned a lot. I had so much fun there, man. So so good to work there as a server. I had so
So
much fun.
you got a lot of interesting opportunities just by being, like you said, a half full type of person and communicative
Yeah, yeah,
and open minded to like, okay, let's go, let's do it. Like,
yeah. It's there's no worst. What's the worst thing that can happen? That's the I always say.
huh,
What's the worst thing that can happen?
I do this
Right?
sometimes too.
Lose the job. You know what I
I'm gonna
mean?
embarrass
On my
myself
situation there,
live.
like I'm gonna lose the job as a server. I can try to get another one because over there, like there's plenty of like work, right?
Ah, yeah,
So there's like you can get plenty of work, but like my steady job, which is the one that I got stressed out and didn't want to lose and stuff, was the job with the dental
okay,
stuff,
the
right?
sales rep there.
Yeah, but the extra money I did as a server, I started doing it for money, but in the end,
It was fun.
I was just doing it was so much fun, man. I had so much fun. I had so much joy. Like wake up like Sunday morning, like now, like wake up 6 a.m. on a Sunday just to go to work. And it was like just static about it. I was love doing it. Like getting the boat to the island and just like serving like people's brunch. It was awesome because I was learning like how the restaurants work and like make like like making friends with the chef and just watching everything. Like it was all like an amazing experience if you ask me. Like and then and I because I was also still attached to dentistry, right? So
Hmm.
every day was like I was learning something that would improve my life as a dentist because I was inside of a practice, but it was also learning some like stuff that would make you a better person. You know what I mean?
That's a good
Everybody
way
should
to.
serve people
Yeah,
at some point in their life.
that's a good way to think. Whenever you have to do something that for some people sounds trivial, you always
Yeah.
do it for a higher
Dude,
purpose.
that's such a life lesson to work as a
And
server.
if you have this kind of posture dealing with people, I imagine you
Yeah.
said I was having fun. You were probably a fun person to be around too,
Yeah.
because one thing is you go to work like, oh, here it is. The other is like you are open and
Yeah, never a day like this. No, I had fun. Like it was because I remember the interview when a guy interviewed me, and he was
was
like,
he Canadian, this guy,
this
or
Canadian
okay?
guy, Zora, and then I think he asked me like, "You're a dentist. Why do you want to be a server and stuff?" I was like, um, "Why do you think you're gonna be a good server?" I said, "I'm used to people hating me when they get into the door because they hate the dentist, right?" And my job is to kind of flip them so they love me in the end.
Hmm.
Like on your thing, they already come in waiting for a good experience. So
Okay.
how hard can it be? And it wasn't like I thought. I
People are
mean, the
already
hard thing
open.
was like to remember everything, and I got chewed on a lot. I got to chicken throat on my back. And
Really?
it was,
Oh,
I
wait, you
was
just
like
don't.
fighting, like the chef was kind of like this, like you wanted to be like sort of like Gordon Ramsay kind of guy. And so,
Really?
yeah, by
This
himself.
chicken is
You know what
so
I mean?
raw that it ate the
Yeah.
salad and
But
then
in the
throw
end
it.
of the day, we're like shooting darts and drinking from the bar and
Ah,
stuff. You know
okay,
what I mean?
nice.
Then we get sometimes we'll leave at 1 a.m. with like a pocket full of cash. You'll get a ferry to go across. Beautiful city, all like, dude, I have some videos that are amazing.
Nice.
Like
And
nice time, like really nice
how
time.
how many okay, you new places there from using the bus transport and
Yeah,
visiting
pretty easy
clinics.
city to
And how many different places in Canada did you visit there?
Not that much, honestly. Like we stay mostly in Toronto. I
Hmm.
mean, we visit a little bit around. Like G went to Quebec for like some training
Hmm.
because we just worked a lot. You know what I mean? Because we didn't go as like it wasn't like we went to Niagara Falls. I mean, but I didn't. I should have done it.
Okay.
Like go to Alberta or to Vancouver and stuff. But we were so focused on like saving the amount of money that we could or and working because we had a plan and the plan was to get our residency um, and get my dental thing and we made so many friends in Toronto so there was always stuff to do like in the summer there was always like a concert, a party, a music festival. Like there's always something to do. There's always a bunch of Brazilian people that are really nice, friends that I made for life that and
And are Canadians really friendly, as they said? No, the people
yeah,
say they are very polite and very friendly
yeah,
there. And the
yeah.
friends you made there, they were Canadians too.
Oh yeah. No, there's yeah, sure. Like like Mike is a Canadian guy. There's a bunch of like there's a couple of Canadian guys that were married to Brazilian girls. And they were really nice. They have a good sense of humor. I love them.
Ah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we
They
were
have a,
talking.
there's a my family actually has a branch there that we found out before
Uh-huh.
that the von Zubens have a Canadian. There's like this von Zuben from the 1800s that
Really?
yeah, he
So you
went to
had a family
Canada.
link
So
there.
there's a bunch of von Zubens in Campinas, and there's like
Huh.
one guy that went to Canada. Now there's 300 of them there. And then all of them came to Indaiatuba. So there's like Indaiatuba, Toronto, right? So
Man,
then there was they were in the airport waiting for us when we arrived.
man, that's
Yeah,
nice.
they were nice. Every Easter, every like holiday we spent with them. I'm still in touch with them. You know what I mean? Like they sold them my car when I left. They sold my car. Now they moved to like whatever Halifax or
Man, that's another
New
very nice takeout that we
Nova
can have.
Scotia. They moved.
Whenever you go to a foreign place, be friendly and make real human connections in the
Yeah.
place. You're gonna feel welcomed, and you're gonna be welcome too.
And like because the it's experience, right? It will shape you as a person, right? And then when you whatever, even the bad stuff, some bad stuff happen. I don't know, like some bad experiences happen with everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I remember whenever something bad happens, I was like, in some most moments, I was like, or I was either laughing about it because it was so weird that I was like, I can't believe that happened to me. Or you could go back and I had G with my by my side who just, you know, me help each other out. G like it's just life in another place, like life here, right? You have bad moments, you have good moments. And then when but the basically like what going back to his question right now is he said he wanted to know what the cultural like the biggest cultural difference that we have like the Brazilians are, it's cliche, but it is. We're warmer. Like we make friends faster. Like
Oh,
I remember when
definitely.
I was working at the dental office, I would just because I needed to show the second dental office because I was working this Palestinian guy, then a Jewish guy hired me. So I was working for one, and then yeah, and then a Jewish guy hired me. So I was working for the Jewish guy, and then I started like. I hired a new receptionist, Brazilian girl, and then I
Mm.
hired this Ukrainian girl for the reception because the reception was like it wasn't good, and then we hired two people. So I would call the Brazilian people. I was sending in it. So I'm a dentist. I'm working at this dental place. So every Brazilian immigrant, they were like, "Oh, I could even, especially people that didn't speak English well.
They
They
will feel
wanted to go to a
comfortable.
place where there's a Brazilian person that they didn't get ripped off or something like that,
Yeah.
like money wise and whatever. So they'll use me as a reference, right? So anyway, so they would call me in and I'll book them. So the dentist was like nice and new patients, right?
Yeah.
So they'll come. So whenever they come to the office, and you know how we are Brazilians, right?
Yeah.
Never seen the guy in my life.
Oh,
First time I
Brazilian
seen
too. Hey, how are you?
a hug and everything.
And
And they're
people
like,
like, are you
no,
friends?
they're like,
Just met.
yeah, do you know them, this guy? No, just met. I just met him. You're like, where you're hugging them and everything, because everything is very not cold in a sense of like it's just cultural, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're like not warm people, like emotionally all warm. It's just that you know how we are, right? So we're
Yeah.
just go to my house, in
And
the
then
weekend,
because they are feeling
That's the biggest
insecure,
difference.
they
That's
are
the biggest
feeling
difference.
insecure in a foreign place. This is potentialized to
Yeah.
when they meet somebody from home, they are gonna feel warm and
Yeah.
open. That's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the biggest difference that we see mostly like when from Latin America to go to like Europe and
Yeah. Man, okay, let me take a look here at the chat before I will not
chat.
forget you guys. Yeah.
Let's go to the chat.
Liza's here. Mike, chat, take a look there.
Oh,
Like
so
those
I
real
saw
see.
CH. I was like,
What?
oh,
We are
chat,
chatting. What's
chat,
happening?
chat. Well, we are
Yeah.
chatting.
Oh yeah. A movie I forbid myself to watch. Isaac saying here. We were talking about dub movies. Is Machete with Danny Trejo.
Nice.
His dubbing
I
actor
know.
is incredible. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Machete Kills.
Danny
Yeah.
Trejo.
All right. Lord of the Rings. Very epic. It is. The best of the best. Okay. Jose is saying here is my dream to live in Canada because I'm a developer and the country is wonderful for us. Ah, okay. A lot of opportunities in your area. Okay, nice. All right. Now you know the answer, Fernando. He's saying that he hates to go to the dentist. Well, if you don't go, whenever you
Yeah.
had to go, it's gonna be worse, man. So
Yeah.
just face it. Yeah, Isaac is asking if there is a, between us here, a Brazilian way to get into the country.
Oh, to get into what, to Canada?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you can get the plane, go there and just stay. The problem is that yeah, I mean, I don't judge. I have people that I met that are friends for life that went there that way.
They're just
And they're
illegally
making
there,
a
like,
living. They're
yeah.
making a living.
Mm.
They're raising their kids. And I never judged. Everybody has their experience. The way I was fortunate not to need to do it
Mhm.
that way. And in the end, we got the plan where it worked out fine. Like we
That
did
would be my question.
we did the residency, everything worked out, and then
You sounded like a Canadian, everything worked
worked
out.
out. Yeah. So then we did that, and I started doing the process for like the dental accreditation. So I sent my papers,
Hmm.
they approved. I was about to do the first test, and then she got pregnant. It
Oh,
wasn't unplanned. We planned to do it.
mm-hmm.
It was 2019, and it was awesome. Like it is still is like
Mm-hmm.
best thing ever happened to me. And we started making plans for Arthur to come and everything. And
Arthur, the name of your kids.
Arthur,
Arthur,
yeah.
nice.
And
It's
then
because of the story,
it's because of the King Arthur.
Excalibur. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And
nice.
it's also a name that it can be used in English and in Portuguese. It
Yeah,
was very
yeah,
important for
yeah.
us to do it
Makes sense.
when we decided it. And then uh, 2019, we went for, because in Canada, you can't do, like, it's not like here, like she was pregnant, she can do like an ultrasound like we do here.
Mm.
Like you just go ultrasound, see the little baby in 3D and all that. Nice. Get like a stuffed animal and stuff. In Canada, so because it's all public health, so you have to go to the family doctor. It has to do a request, and then you have to go to the ultrasound clinic, and then it's not the same experience.
Okay.
Not good, not bad. It's just that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we went for Christmas to the U.S. to visit a friend in Phoenix, in Arizona. So there in the US, they have that experience, and I wanted G to have that experience to see Arthur and everything in the
To
ultrasound.
have the printed photo.
If you ask me a day before, if I wanted to leave, I'll say never. I never want to leave.
Canada, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
The minute I saw him on the ultrasound, when I left the place, I was like, I just need to go home. I need to go back to Brazil.
Why?
Because kids, I don't know, man. It's just like, not, I mean, now I do, but it's like now every day I do. It's like, especially in the first period of their life, I think, my opinion, they have to be around lots of family.
Ah, the family.
Right?
It makes total sense.
It doesn't matter if you're in a first world country with nice schools and everything. Like the best thing that can happen to a kid in the first period of their life is to be around family.
It makes total sense.
Yeah, every like ambition that I had went like second place there.
Okay.
When I saw his little face on the thing. Kind of weird, but
Now
it is.
all the parents watching us are doing the oh.
No, it is like to be a parent. You guys don't have any of you have kids, like you do, right? So it's like you learn that you have some like love inside of you that you don't know before. Like it's
you automatically stop being the most important thing that is.
It is. It's natural. Like when I came back, my dad was in the hospital with COVID, and then I came back. I arrived in Brazil the day after he left the hospital.
Nice.
I remember it's first thing I said, like we say hello. I was like, dude, I have so much to apologize that I don't know where to start. You know what I mean? Because I have so much to apologize, I don't know where to start. Because it's like you understand, like it's a full circle of life and everything.
Okay.
You understand, like you don't. It's kind of cliche again, like you say, like when you have a kid, you understand. But it is like I used to hear this. I used to see people with kids, and I was like, I would never go through that. Like, but then you go.
Then you start thinking, oh my God, my parents were awesome.
Through it, and you're doing it, and you're loving it. It's awesome. Like
how being a dad, how has it changed you, man?
For me,
yeah,
you learn. First of all, you start being afraid of dying.
Oh, it's like the cowboy b-boy thing.
Yeah, you don't. Like when you have a kid, you learn what it is to be afraid of death.
Damn, man.
And then you start thinking about like living better, which is not doing like eating better and stuff.
Okay.
I still have to do that.
Okay. So, oh my God.
But I'm at least thinking about it, right?
Love them ribs. I gotta reduce
which I didn't do it before.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's like yeah, but that's the best thing you can do in your life. Like I hands down, like it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Like I can't imagine my life without it. Like I can't fathom my life like before him. Like I can go like it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Had a bunch of fun, but like stuff gets so little.
Yeah.
Like everything that we thought it was so important back then, like that party, that concert, that thing, like now it's so little looking back.
Mm-hmm.
It would even be that's the best way to explain it. Like, yeah, but then we came back. Like we made a plan. COVID came.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you moved back to Canada?
No, we stayed there for COVID. Again, we made a plan to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go back right away. Like boyfriend dumped you. Get into a plane, go back to Brazil. No. Like we made a plan, a year and a half plan. We set a date. It was like February 2021 because it was a date that we needed so we can apply for citizenship that we now have. We got citizenship and everything.
You got the thing.
Yeah, citizenship, the passport and all. But not because of it, because of the time that we spent there. And then we came back, planned, all arranged.
So Arthur was
And
born in Canada.
yeah,
Ah, so he's Canadian.
Canadian born.
Nice, man.
Nice kid. He's amazing. Lots of fun.
Oh, man,
I enjoy it.
I'm thinking now, it must have
Gonna
been,
talk to G, man. You're gonna see she's very different now than she was
man,
like a few years back.
it must have
Head
been,
space different.
it,
Changes you.
I imagine it must have been in a positive way overwhelming for your parents because you were distant, they were missing you, and you returned with a kid. Like this.
Yeah. And Arthur was born in April 2020, right? So they were supposed to go to Canada to see and he couldn't do it
Ah, because of
because of
COVID.
COVID. It was awesome for me actually because I was supposed to get off work at March 15.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that everybody got off work with me
Nice.
because I was already planned to stop working and everything. So I got a bunch of people to play Call of Duty with me.
Going back to the
Because I was
game.
already planning on doing it because Arthur was supposed to be born.
How was their reaction, man, when they saw him for the first time?
I wasn't there. When they saw the first time, G came to visit with him.
Ah, okay.
So I wasn't there. But I like when I was there, when they saw me with him, it was great, man. It was the best feeling. But for me to see them, like as I said, like I will endure anything here in Brazil because it's not easy. It hasn't been easy since I came back. Restart again, my profession, which depends on like people coming in and all. But every time I see him with my parents, man, it's all worth it because it's like that's why I did it, and I have no regrets because it's like that's the best thing, like to have my kid with my mom and my dad, and they liked each other and they enjoy like
Man, I can only imagine. I'm planning to be a dad in a few years, you
you
know.
should.
That's why I'm asking these questions, you know.
I wish I've
What
done
you're
it.
doing that?
I wish I've
The
done
girls,
it.
you're like,
It's one of those things like I wish I've done it before, but then again, I wouldn't do it with G before because I didn't know her,
yeah, of course.
or we wouldn't just like it just happens when it
Another
happens.
cliche that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it happens when it happens.
Or
right?
maybe we made the reason after it
Yeah.
already happened. It doesn't
If I
matter.
had the money, I think I'll have like 10 kids. Yeah. I'm too awesome. I have to replicate. I have to reproduce. Like I have to have a bunch of little Fabios running.
Ah man, that was a very nice talk. You know, I
Thank
didn't
you.
expect that you bring the dad out of me. Now I'm thinking like,
I know.
nice. Before we wrap this up, man, final message to our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, we deviated a little bit from the message, right? But I mean, I could stay here talking to you for like for hours,
Same thing, man.
as we did before for like hours
Yeah.
too. So for the students of times, they're most like they're watching this just from all of this BS that we talk about here. Like if you have to get something, just get that. Find the reason why you need to learn English, and push yourself through that first phase.
Okay.
To your brain flips, and it's very important. Like to learn the language, and to be able to have access to a whole different scope of like information and everything. Because nowadays, especially this time, we cannot afford to have filtered information comes to us.
Yeah.
Like we have to avoid, like we have to get all the filters, like be able to make up your mind, absorbing information straight from the source.
Yeah, that's amazing. For all possible sources, man.
Yeah,
And
for
at
everything.
different areas like studying, work,
Study, from media,
fun.
from a movie, from like news, from everything, from
Nice.
sports, from everything.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will definitely two takeouts here. Being a dad in the years to come and visiting Canada too,
Yeah.
you know. And guys, thank you so much for being here with us. You know, you guys chatting here, sending questions. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, like, share it, and I hope to see you next week on another episode of Baldies. No, I'm joking, of Talking Times.
Baldies.
Bye bye.